you can eat that. It will provide the source of. But now it comes to, we advise on variety because the red meat, it is rich in heme iron, the iron that the body needs, which you cannot get in the legumes, which are plant proteins. So we come in and help you now in planning so that you balance.
Yeah.
If you're taking today you took your bread with your egg. There are those who can take it with your bacon, if you can afford it, with your meat, if you have it. You know, sometimes I tell someone you can eat chapati with greens, and someone is like, no, how do you take that? Because we know in our head, I need chapati with either stew, the animal proteins, or the plant proteins. And that's all.
Friends of mine tell me, "Bwana, kama chapati is in a beans, wachana nayo." Then let's not take it.
But personally, I eat chapati with managu, and it's so sweet. That's why I told you it starts from the mind.
It's a mindset, isn't it?
Because we've been brought up in a setup to know these are the specific foods that we need to eat with this combination, with this method of preparation. But as a nutritionist, I help you in unlearning those things, knowing how to mix, and then I will help you now in portion sizes. Like in a day, an adult is required to eat for carbohydrates, 6 to 11 servings of carbohydrates. A child is required to eat 6 servings. And 6 serving, one slice of bread is an equivalent of 1 serving.
Because we got to start from that. Because that was my next question. Because I would approach it from this perspective. What is the scientific definition of I am full? Or in Swahili, as they say, nimeshiba. How do you, as a nutritionist, how do you define nimeshiba? Because that would run into so many definitions by so many people, depending on whom you're talking to. I'll tell you what mine is. If my mind has told me, let's stop eating, I might go for more. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and take 1 piece of bread. I might go for 1 or 2 or 3.
Or 4 or 5.
4 or 5. You hear the people tell you, if I don't take 3 chapatis, my mind will fight me for the rest of the day. Like, I'm not okay. There's something that we're missing. We didn't hit the number. What is the definition of kushiba in science?
I would approach that in this way. Every individual has different needs.
Yeah.
So I might recommend for you your serving and your portion sizes, but we have different energy needs based on the level of activity that you do. For you, you might not need to eat 4 chapatis because you're just coming, you sit, you will talk. The level of activity that you're engaged in does not require a lot of energy. Yeah. Because also that goes in line with the amount of food that you eat. You cannot eat the same amount of food na ule mse wa mjengo, or the guy who plays rugby.
Definitely.
I've met some who come, they eat those 7 chapatis in a sitting. But that food is going to be put into good use. Yeah. So the energy will be broken down. You don't need to overeat. We call it binge eating. Yeah. When you're not doing the activity, and it's also a nutritional problem when you overeat. We also deal with that, dealing with binge eating, and there are also there are also those like in the current setup where we ladies we want to remain slim. So there are those now who eat. After eating, they go and vomit the food.
There's a practice like that.
Yeah, so that the food doesn't work on their body. So it's also a nutritional problem that we also approach. So we need to, when you visit us, we look at you as an individual. Okay. When I'm doing your diet plan, I do to you as an individual. That's why I can never come up with a meal plan that will work for all of us.
It is very
specific. Yeah. Client-centered.
That's it.
Individual-centered.
What are some of the questions that you would ask me today if I visited your office there and say, I need a meal plan that fits me? What are these top questions you're going to ask me so that you learn me as a person? Because you've said eating is a mental issue, that if you're not, if you're not ready, then you're not going to fit in with the meal plan that we're giving
you.
I
might do it. You'll give me the money and you will not practice. You will put it in the house.
So what are the cycle questions that you ask me so you know exactly where I
am? Before I get to the questions, there's something we call screening. I'll do the nutritional screening. I'll get to know who you are in terms of your body weight, your body height, your body mass index, we call it BMI, the fat content, the nutrient content. We will get all that screening. After getting that, I need to know your food history. Like on a typical day, from morning to evening, what do you eat? What is the trend of your feeding habits? Do you just eat because you're hungry, or do you eat because your body needs food? So when I ask you that, I will get to know, I get the history and your habits. And also, now that I've mentioned the psychological part of it, and that's why I also needed to do psychology to get to understand the thoughts of a person, their behavior. Are they ready to change, to adopt to these new feeding habits? Because there are people who continue eating and they don't stop. I've met such people. As long as they see food, they will eat. At any given time, you're shocked. So that's why I told you there are those conditions that we also approach as nutritionists. So the questions I will ask you, how is your feeding habit? What are some of the foods you like? What are some of the foods you can afford? And are they accessible? It's not just a matter of affording. Are they accessible?
Yes.
Because I can't give you a meal plan and you go and I tell you to go buying kiwi fruit every day. How long do you interact with kiwi fruit? But when I mention an orange,
it's right there.
It's right there with you. When I mention a mango, you can easily see it. So we get the whole understanding of a person, their background, their economic status, because we also need to plan within budget. If you cannot afford bread every day, we need to look for an alternative for what is affordable.